Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have a guest with 5 years experience in positive psychology.
So that makes her no noob into actually changing mindsets. Now she has dedicated her life to actually helping people understand the power of the mind. Today we have Stephanie Gotsch.
Classes in session.
Hey.
Yeah, everything's running.
All right, cool. So, Stephanie, why should he not sell his bike?
Do you love it?
Yeah, I love it.
I mean, I watched the podcast.
Yeah. It's free. Like, have you ever been on a motorcycle?
Uh-huh.
Okay. It's freedom.
It feels like you're flying.
Yeah, it's the closest thing you'll get to
Now,
flying.
you said 120 to 140 miles per hour.
Yeah.
I can't say that I've done that.
Yeah.
But yes, I've been on the back of a bike. I've never
Okay.
Yeah. I don't drive.
Yeah, no, I just fell off of him.
But
Yeah, I popped a
that's
wheelie.
not surprising.
Mm-hmm. With some girls walking down the street.
Oh, Jesus.
Popped
okay.
a wheelie, trying to be, roll right off that thing.
There you go.
And I walked it home. But
Didn't even look at the girls, did you? You were like, I'm just going to keep my head down.
they was laughing. Why would I look
I
back?
would have too.
Right.
Yeah. Why? So, Nate, why do you want to sell it?
Well, what we're talking is like, if I want to go full board with like my media business and everything I have as a priority, give up the toys, and then maybe 10 years later we go back to it.
Yeah.
Because it can distract you. Because, I mean, you got to put in a lot of work to, like, I do a lot of stunt work, stuff like that. So you got to go practice and stuff like that. So instead of taking time, 10, 15 hours a week, doing practicing and writing, you can put more into editing, make the podcast better, other clients, that kind of thing. So that's where it's like, make those sacrifices and then maybe down the road come back to it.
So, what do you do that you love other than your bike?
My media company, I mean, my priorities, media company, relationships, soccer, that type of thing.
Right.
So, I mean,
But you don't go drinking after soccer.
No.
I heard that.
No.
And so you just go play soccer and go home.
Yep.
Right? Props to you. But I'll ask you this because one of the most profound things that I've learned in my life is that life is so finite, right?
Yeah.
And so if, let's say, God forbid, morbid as it is, 3 years from now, you're diagnosed with a terminal disease, right?
Right.
You think you're going to look back on your media company? Or do you think you're going to look back on the times that you were flying at 140 miles on that bike?
I mean, kind of both. I mean, if I have a talent, I love making stuff. I know it sounds silly. Like, I love this whole production.
Oh, you can tell.
Yeah, I have a lot of fun with it. Even though some people don't like it, but
You're the first
I
person
think it's
that told
fun.
me that
So
you love.
it's like pushing my skill tree as wide as it can go and as high as it can go. That's kind of what I want to do before, because it's like, I don't think I was going to live that long. And if I could die on a motorcycle, that'd be probably best case scenario. Like,
You have life insurance?
No.
We should talk about that, but okay.
Yeah.
My
I
question, though.
gamble a lot.
Gamble on life? Is that what
Yeah,
you're saying?
gamble
Okay,
on
good.
life.
Thank God. Okay. You can gamble. It's fine. But my thing is when I was watching the podcast, because I've watched them several times, but when you said it, your face lit up.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm geeked out about it.
You could tell.
Yeah.
And your face lights up about media too, right? There's an excitement about it. You can
Mhm.
tell there's a passion about it. You can tell there's love, but it didn't light up the way it did when you were flying on your bike at 140 miles an hour.
Yeah, because again, like I said, it's freedom, and it's never been about getting girls or anything like that.
Right.
It's just the feeling on a bike. It's like you said, it's just like flying, closest thing you ever get to it. And we're living when we're closest to death. And
Of
on
course.
sports bikes,
Preach.
it's just like you're not protected by anything. It's just
Mhm.
you. And again, it's just a different feeling that you can't describe. Like, if you don't ride, you don't understand. But that's why I've had people pass away from it, but I always come back to it. It's just something that's kind of part of me.
Sure.
But yeah.
Yeah. When I saw the podcast on YouTube, I don't sell your bike, dude. There's too much passion. There's too much love.
So why is that important, though?
Because you got to have balance, man. Life is about balance. People go so far, so hard into doing something that they love, right? You go all in, and especially with what you guys talk about, the hustle of it, and no freebies, right? And
Right.
all the stuff that you guys have said.
Yeah.
There is a fine balance between hustling as hard as you can and then also finding something that takes you away so that you can find that creative balance, right? Once you get off that bike, you're on this high, you have this elevated state where creativity can come just a little bit easier than when you're sitting behind your computer for 5, 6, 7 hours
Oh, yeah,
trying to do
yeah.
animation, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
creativity is always subconscious. Yeah.
Right. So one of the things that I talk about a lot with people is finding that balance between your hustle and the fun.
Mhm.
And soccer's great. What does it take, an hour?
Yeah.
Right.
Of gameplay, yeah.
Right. And then you don't go out afterwards, which I think is great. You go home. I loved what you said about the 45-minute, how it adds up,
Yeah.
right? And at the end of the week, you've got extra hours.
Mhm.
I love that you knew that there was 160 minutes in a week, right?
Yeah.
But man, you got to find that balance. Over the weekend, I spent most of my time watching football by a fire. And there's part of me in my head that was saying, I need to be getting this done, this done, and this done.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also that self-care that comes to fruition, that
Okay.
ability to take time away from the hustle, so that way when I go back to the hustle, I'm that much stronger.
But see, so me personally, and I'm pretty sure I speak for everyone that just get locked in the grind. That's a guilty pleasure. Like when I'm
Why is it
actu-
guilty?
I don't know. It's literally in my mental. Like when I'm having fun or when I'm just self-caring, allowing myself to enjoy and not get locked into the grind. It's almost like you're slacking, you're missing. It's almost that concept of you're sleeping while everybody's working and everybody's getting ahead and you are just falling behind. And that's kind of the thing that I think hunts most people is, oh snap, I'm falling behind. I'm not on top of my game. I'm more of the 90% than I am the 10%. So I understand what you're saying. It's hard to let yourself enjoy something though.
What do you think? Because that's self-care. I like how you word it. But what versus escapism? What's your view on escapism then? Because then you're trying to escape things. That's why it's like I harp on sometimes video games and stuff like that. But
Right.
Yeah.
Is
So-
there a fine line
I think,
between?
yeah, so it's a choice,
Okay.
right? So we're talking about the word self-care, and then you talk about the word escapism. It's the same concept. In your brain, nervousness and excitement are created by the exact same place in your brain. It's the exact same chemical.
Yep.
So it's a choice of what you're calling it.
Yep.
And what you call it actually gives it power,
Mhm.
right? So if you say, I'm going to take a day and have self-care, I'm going to take a day and, read a fiction novel or ride a bike or Netflix and chill, right? Like
Mhm.
whatever. Probably shouldn't say that on here. That has a different meaning than I know it to have.
depends.
It-
Right?
It
It's
depends.
it's
I'm
come a
married.
long
It
way,
still has
hasn't
the
it?
same meaning for me.
Okay. Anyway, my point.
Does it for me?
It's a whole different thing for Nate. For me though, like it's the verbiage and it's the power that you give the word.
Okay.
So for you, Jay, it's guilt, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're letting the emotion drive the behavior or lack of behavior. And most people do that. People who are highly trained in the brain, who can understand that the word you're giving it is giving it power, have the ability to have that balance where you can say, because Nate, I promise you this, dude. See, I told you I was going to do that. I promise you this. When you go to die, have you ever been with someone who was close to you that is passed away?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Lots, yeah.
Have you ever noticed them talking about the amount of time that they worked?
Yeah, that's why it's not about work. It's
Right.
about being happy.
Right?
Like
and
doing
passion.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm about. That's like, it's not necessarily saying no to motorcycles. It's just maybe putting a pause and, is it what, that's why it's like, I'm always looking at, is it what I want to do in these next few years? Hey, I could get kind of really focus on more camera equipment, just put my focus and then shift back to it. Because I know you fall in love with things, then you fall out, then come
Yeah.
back. So I understand, and that's what it's like. But no, I totally read with you because it's like for me. It's not about growing this thing to $1 million company. It's not. It's about me being happy and taking on clients that I like and sharing stories that
Yeah.
I like. That's the point and the end goal. But yeah, no, I'm with you. As where it's like I don't want to talk about work or anything like that. It's just more about I love this. So
The passion of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. Wait,
So long as you have passion, then you're all right.
what does all right mean?
I don't know. I don't know what fine means either.
You use it a
So-
lot. You should try to figure out what it means.
I mean, it's just labels.
Passion, I think, is what drives people, right? Passion is that inner fire, and you could have it for anything, right? You could have it for a bike, you can have it for a job, you could have it for. I think when life gets really great is when you can have a passion that actually earns you an income,
yeah.
That's a sweet spot.
right? Yeah, that's a
Mhm.
sweet spot. So as long as you have a passion, I don't know if you're all right. I mean, you could have a whole lot of other jacked up stuff in your life going on, but I think you're way better than most people. I think one of the things that's lacking for people in this generation, in this world, is passion, is finding something that you would put your whole heart into, that you would sell your girlfriend, right? That sounded terrible again. We don't believe in sex trafficking. It's a bike, y'all, just so you know the truth.
But
But
no, I call my bike my girlfriend.
I know
all
you
the-
do,
yeah,
right? That's
yeah.
why. So like,
I
don't.
name every one of them.
Right.
So, yeah.
She's talking about the bike, ladies and
Right,
gentlemen.
the bike. It's a bike. But I just, when your face lights up about it, that's why I was like, you should not be selling that bike. You know, I put a ton of time into my hustle, my side hustle, my passion. But I also have days where I let it all go for a whole day. And there's no guilt. There used to be a ton of guilt. I felt like you did, Jay, where, you know, you got to keep going. You ever hear that old, I don't know what it is, a story about the guy that was chopped? There was two guys, they had to chop down the tree.
No.
You never heard this?
Talk to him.
There's two guys, and they were given the challenge, right? So Jay and Nate, y'all have to chop down this tree.
Yeah.
And whoever chops down the most trees the fastest by the end of the day wins. And the one guy was like, got it. And he went to chopping and chopping and chopping, and he chop, 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 chop. And he looks over, and the other guy is not chopping trees. And he was like, oh, I got this. Chop, 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 chop. He's chopping, right?
Right.
And the other guy he's sharpening his chopping tool. What is that called? An axe.
Yep.
And he's sharpening it. So he is cutting down, in fact, more trees at the end of the day, and did it with less work because he stopped to sharpen his tool, right? And I think sometimes when people are in that hustle mode, and it also comes with age plays a huge part in it. You get to a point where you recognize that if you go 100%, 110% hard all the time, you're going to come to a place called burnout. And that's where a lot of people hit the wall and can't figure out how to go past that. So I don't look at it as guilt. I don't look at it as not working hard. I don't look at it as laziness. I look at it as this is my downtime. So that way when I hit my stride tomorrow morning, I'm 100% focused and ready to go.
And it's the same with like athletes. You've ever heard the term like deloading weeks? Anything? No. Okay. So athletes will deload, and it's kind of a newer concept because and I'm used to you think you got to work out 7 days a week, 3 hours a day, that kind. And I've done that. So it's just, but what now is like, but people have seen after you take like a deload week, where essentially what it is, where you don't necessarily do nothing, but you just like, you walk, you do like 50% of like your maxes, just really lightweight stuff, just kind of, you move, but you don't, the intensity is low. The next week, you're stronger than you ever were. Like the body, like that's how I put everything and compare it to the human body, because we're the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just your body reacts that way. It likes to not go, like you'll tear yourself apart.
So basically what both of you guys are trying to say is allow yourself to enjoy things. Don't feel guilty about the grind. Or I would say pausing from the grind. You guys agree?
But yeah, 100%.
All right then.
So thanks for watching, you guys. If you appreciate the content,
Like and subscribe.
hey, class dismissed.
Yeah.
I know. Let's see how that looks. It's stupid. Let's just see if we was in front.